Hello and welcome to this week's Midweek Motivation. Today I actually do have my wine, but also I have my lemon water. Yes, it's out of an emoji cup. Because life's all about balance, right? So today I want to talk to you guys about 7 tips that I have on how to stick to your New Year's resolutions. Now I know that this time of year is when gyms start to get a little bit more empty. People go back to eating not such healthy food. You may lose a little bit of enthusiasm or motivation around things you were really excited to do when the new year started. Now we're kind of winding down off of that high of, yes, new year, new me, let me set all these goals and let me accomplish them. And well, it's been about almost 2 months into the new year and maybe you're not where you want to be, or maybe the plan you had to reach your goal didn't go exactly the way that you wanted it to. So what I'm gonna do for you is give you some of my tips on how to get motivated again, get inspired again, and stick to those goals that may be falling off a little bit once you get a month or 2 into the new year. So the first tip that I have is find the planning system that works best for you. One of my previous midweek motivation videos, I shared the planner that I use. Let me go get it. So just as a reminder, this is the planner that I use. This is the planner that I use. It's quite a large planner and it's very detailed. As you can see, it has a whole lot of pages in it, and there's actually pre-work that you have to do before you even start planning. The reason why this planner worked for me is because during the time that I got this planner, I was going through a really huge change in my life, career-wise. I really never took the time to think about what I really wanted to do, what my goals really were, what I would be doing if I didn't have the job that I had. And I knew I had a lot of things going on in my mind, and I know I've said this before, but my issue is I have so many thoughts and so many ideas and so many goals. I tend to get overwhelmed if I don't write them down and organize them. So this really got me to think, what do I really want to do? This is really one of the reasons why I'm making these videos to begin with, is because one of my goals was to post 2 YouTube videos every week for 1 year minimum. Even if I don't feel like doing it anymore, even if I feel too lazy to do it, or I have plans, or even if something comes up, I wrote down and promised myself that I would post 2 YouTube videos a week for an entire year. One of the things that's holding me accountable is writing it down and putting it in my planner. And it also helped with the action steps behind it, because I wanted to do so many things for so long. I wanted to start a YouTube channel since the first tutorial I saw of Nicole Guerrero curling her hair with a straight iron, which was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I also wanted to do makeup for probably the same amount of time. I wanted to get back into doing other things that you can make money at but are fun, like waitressing or bartending. So I've always had all of these things that I've wanted to do. I've also wanted to do a lot of things when it comes to business, like get into real estate, and I've always wanted to have a clothing store. So these are just things that have been floating around in my head with no action behind them for years. So if you're similar to me in any way, where you have a lot of thoughts and ideas and dreams and ambitions, but nothing's coming out of them, it's because you need a solid plan and you need action behind it. And this type of detailed planner was really what I needed at that time to get my thoughts together and make sure that I'm turning my thoughts and goals into reality, and they're not just floating around in my head like they have been for the past X amount of years, like most of us do. Now, if that detailed of a planner doesn't work for you, there are plenty of different things that you can use to have your goals on something tangible. You can use a regular notebook to write your goals and ideas and action plan on. You can use a whiteboard. If you like something easier to switch up, that you can maybe hang in an area where you'll see it every day. So no matter what type of planning system that you have, it's important that you have one, because a dream or a goal without a plan remains just that, a dream and a goal. And no success comes out of it because there's no plan of action behind it. So no matter what goals that you have, make sure you find a way to plan out your actions, write them down somewhere, because I found that if your goals are placed somewhere where you have to look at them often, it's less likely that you're gonna forget about them and let them fall to the wayside. My second tip for sticking to your resolutions is to do something productive first thing in the morning. I know that we've all probably heard you should always make your bed as soon as you wake up in the morning, because that's one thing that you've accomplished as soon as you woke up, and it's only going to motivate you to accomplish more throughout the day. Now, I know when you hear that, you may be thinking, oh, it's just making my bed. Like, is it that big of a deal? I'm not gonna see it again until I go to sleep at night. If you're like me, you really don't see your bed until you fall asleep that night. But after doing productive things, early in the morning, I have come to conclude and agree that 100% makes the rest of your day more productive. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be making your bed. If you're at home, maybe accomplish something around the house first thing in the morning. Maybe if it's not making the bed, maybe do laundry or do the dishes or go work out. If you're at work, make sure that you plan out your hardest task for first thing in the morning and you don't get to the office and stare at your computer for the first hour, not really doing much, because then that same momentum that you have in the morning, whatever that momentum is, whether it's a lot of momentum or a little momentum, is going to continue with you throughout the day. If you don't believe me, try it. I promise you it works. Tomorrow when you get up in the morning, make your bed, or go for a morning workout, or go to work and do the hardest thing first as soon as you get to work. It's kind of like starting a competition with yourself. If I complete this task first thing in the morning, am I really gonna let the rest of the day go to waste? Or am I gonna see how many productive tasks I can complete throughout the day so I feel good about myself at the end of the day? No, even on the weekends. I know I'm so guilty of wanting to sleep in, so guilty. I love my sleep. I actually get really crazy and really mean if I'm really tired. But the days that I've voluntarily woken up early without having something to do, like go to work or go to an appointment or something like that, are the days that I feel best about myself, because you have to have self-discipline to do it. You know, no one else is telling you to do it except for yourself. I think that's something that not a lot of people understand the importance of, and honestly that not a lot of people have, at least not a ton of it, is because most people make a living based on doing something for somebody else or doing something that makes somebody else money, right? So when we go to work, we have a boss that tells us what to do. If we don't do what they're telling us to do, then there's consequences that we have to suffer. And that's most of the reason why we accomplish those tasks. You know, there's a reward if we do accomplish them, and there's consequences if we don't. If you're able to do that for yourself, that is a skill that will take you so far. And that's honestly the skill that separates the bosses from the workers. And speaking of rewards and consequences, the third tip that I have is schedule time to do things that you enjoy doing. Now that's part one of this tip. You wanna make sure that when you are planning out your goals and how you're gonna accomplish them, that you don't overload yourself. You know, it's very, very easy to get really, really excited about planning and about goal setting and about accomplishing things. You know, it really is exciting, but what you don't want to do is overload your plate and overwhelm yourself to the point where you just stop doing all of it. I know I'm guilty of that too. When I have too much going on and I have too many things to do, my first initial gut reaction is to shut down. And that does not help anyone, and you don't accomplish anything by doing that. To avoid that, you want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with too many things to do to begin with, and that you make sure to also schedule in time for things that you like to do, whether it's going to see your friends, whether it's hanging out with your family, whether it's going out to eat or playing basketball once a week, making sure that you do something special with your kids where you're spending quality time with them as often as you can. You don't want to let those things fall to the wayside either. It's all about balance. And I strongly believe that in order to reach any goal, you have to have a balance between work and life. And then work and life are also composed of so many different things. There's your business and professional life, there's taking care of yourself physically, there's taking care of yourself mentally, there's spending time with friends and family, there's doing things for leisure, like going on vacation and things like that. There has to be a balance of all of that. Make sure that when you are thinking about your resolutions, you think about all areas of your life so that you're not overloading yourself in one specific area and you're really making time to do things that bring you joy. Because life is really too short to be working all the time. The second part of that is give yourself consequences for not completing the actions also. Now I know this is probably a little harder than giving yourself rewards, but this is really where self-discipline comes in and ownership and accountability of what you want to accomplish. So if you told yourself that you were gonna work out 3 times a week and you didn't work out 3 times a week, should you really be going out with your friends for a drink that Friday? You may really, really want to, and when you get to the point where you can tell yourself, no, you know, I didn't earn this. So the consequence of me not sticking to what I wanted to do for myself is not going out with my friends for that drink this weekend. I promise you, you will be such a strong person mentally and emotionally if you are really able to balance that and give yourself consequences for not completing things that you're telling yourself to do and rewarding yourself for completing things, that you will really be able to accomplish anything. The fourth tip that I have for you is make sure that you're prioritizing your goals. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of goals. The planner that I have actually had me write down my top 50 goals, which at first I thought was just excessive. But now that I've written all of them out, The more that I think about it, the more other goals that I actually have. So imagine if I tried to accomplish all those 50 goals at once. Again, like I said, I would never do any of it. So make sure that you pick 3 goals max. Your top 3 goals that you really, really in your heart want to accomplish first, and make sure that you're realistic about the time frames that you want to accomplish these goals in. You know, if you want to lose 30 pounds, don't give yourself a month to do it and then beat yourself up because it didn't happen. Choose those 3 goals, stick to action steps for those 3 goals, and do not even attempt to do anything else with any of those other goals until those 3 goals are accomplished. Because just like doing nothing isn't productive, doing too much of too many things isn't productive either, because you're not gonna be able to do any of those things well. The next tip that I have for you guys is make sure that you celebrate those small victories. If your goal is to go on a vacation out of the country and you haven't gone out of the country yet, but you got your passport, you know, that is the first step in achieving that goal that you set out for yourself. Or, you know, you started a savings account specifically for your trip out of the country. Celebrate those small successes. Write them down. Don't think that they're nothing. I always think it's a really good idea to reflect on your day or your week or your month. I know sometimes there's a lot going on and we don't have time every single day to sit and reflect on it, but if you're reflecting on your month, make sure that you take the time to think about and even write down those small victories that you've had along the way to get you to your goal, even if you haven't accomplished that specific goal yet. Because without those small victories, you would never achieve your goal. So it's important that you're recognizing those too, because if you do, that can give you more motivation to accomplish even more small things to ultimately get you to that goal or that resolution that you have. The next tip that I have for you is don't feel discouraged if you see other people accomplishing the goals that you have for yourself. I feel like I see this all of the time. A lot of the times it's among women, and it's actually really sad to me that we all can't just empower and inspire and motivate each other to be better. If your goal is to lose weight and you see somebody else that has lost weight, it shouldn't make you angry and it shouldn't make you upset. It should inspire you to know, hey, if they can do it, so can I. If your goal is to learn how to flip houses and make that a secondary source of income, and you see somebody else that you know doing it, don't let that discourage you. Just because they did it before you or you feel like it was your idea first, there's enough shine for us all, ladies. And not to say that men don't do it as well, but I feel like us as women have it so hard already. We already have to work so much harder than the man sitting next to us that has the exact same qualifications as us, maybe sometimes a little bit less. And if you're not only a woman, but a young woman or a young woman with any type of ethnic background, forget about it. We have to work so much harder than other people to get places. So why not come together and empower each other instead of trying to figure out who did what first or who stole whose idea or what it seems like the trend is to do right now. Just because a lot of people are doing something doesn't mean that you can't do it too. If I thought that, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. And I do it, again, because it was a goal of mine. I promised myself I was gonna do it, and I actually really, really enjoy doing it. So if it's something that you wanna do and that you enjoy, who cares if there's a whole bunch of other people doing it? Do what you want, do what you love, educate yourself, practice, be the best at it, and empower other women that are trying to follow their dreams and accomplish their goals too. You all heard the saying, what you put out is what you get back, right? So if you're putting out love and empowerment, chances are you're gonna get love and empowerment back. Just as if you're putting out the opposite. You will absolutely get the opposite back. So be nice, ladies. We're all in this together. The last tip that I have for you guys is tell people about your goals. Tell people about your resolutions. You know why? To hold you accountable. My advice is to tell a really close friend, a family member, your significant other about what goal and what resolution you have, so that way they can hold you accountable. I can tell you guys right now, if I don't make a video on Monday or Wednesday, I have a couple people in my life that will ask me, hey, you said you were gonna make a video on Monday, or you said you were gonna make a video every Monday and Wednesday. Where are they? Namely, my best friend and my boyfriend. They will ask me if they don't see a video, what's going on with it. And even though with certain things you may think, well, if I have someone ask me all these questions all the time and are all up in my business, it'll get annoying. Well, you'll be so annoyed that you'll do it. And for me, I really don't get annoyed. I really appreciate that I have people in my life that care about what's important to me so much that they will hold me accountable for continuing to do something that they know that I want to do. So even if it's one person Whoever that person may be that you know will remind you if you slack off on your goal or your resolution to keep on pushing. Tell them and speak to them regularly. All right, well, those are the tips that I have on how to stick to your New Year's resolutions after January. I really enjoyed making this video, and the topics discussed in these videos are really things that I'm really passionate about, so I hope it comes across that way. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it if you feel like anyone else will benefit from this video. Comment down below on what your tips are on sticking to your New Year's resolutions after January. And I will see you guys on Monday, because if I don't, then my best friend and my boyfriend will come for me. So remember to live life beautiful from the inside out, and I will see you guys next week.